Hello, I'm Chuck, and welcome to Under the Scope Productions presents the Original Music Showcase. Our mission is simple: to help support original music with our three-step process. Listen, experience, and pass on. But we need your help to get the word out.
So let's get started. Tonight's artist had a very early introduction to music, where he listened to his father's 8-track tapes of the Beach Boys and the Beatles. That love turned into playing original music and producing music in his own studio. Let's meet Brett Talley.
Never thought we'd come back. Made out to feel like a sinner. Restrained myself from attack. Sunday morning without warning. Lessons learned, I feel it starting. The weight of the world is off my shoulders. Trading the truth for the lies I sold her. Even the sins of my past are forgiven, like we're starting over. I've never felt this good. I pinch myself to discover if I am alive or dead. Repeating over and over every single lie she said. Sunday morning without warning. Lessons learned, I feel it starting. The weight of the world is off my shoulders. Trading the truth for the lies I sold her. Even the sins of my past are forgiven, like we're starting over. This good. This good. It's understood. We get caught in our breakdowns. It's understood. Time can turn it around. It's understood. We'll rewrite history and watch as others pass it down. A beautiful disaster once was lost and now is found. Sunday morning without warning. Lessons learned, I feel it starting. The weight of the world is off my shoulders. Trading the truth for the lies I sold her. Even the sins of the past are forgiven, like we're starting over. Yeah, the weight of the world is off my shoulders. Trading the truth for the lies I sold her. Even the sins of my past are forgiven, like we're starting over. I never felt this good. I never felt this good. I never felt this good. I never felt this good.
So now you got a taste of Brett's music. Let's find out more about him in the interview.
Well, my name is Brett Talley. I got into music very young. My dad actually had this huge collection of 8-tracks that he used to have in our basement, and we had all the Beatles, Beach Boys, and that's actually like the first music I ever listened to was actually the Beach Boys. That was like my first love. And then from there I went to the Beatles. And then when I was 10, I was in third grade, I asked my parents if I could take guitar lessons. And then from third grade up until I was a freshman in high school, I took lessons at this private music store that was up in the Northeast. And from there, I got real interested into the recording aspect of music. I remember specifically, it was 1994. I had heard 9 Inch Nails' Downward Spiral album, and it made me completely want to be a producer and engineer. And like when I read more into how that album was made and like what Trent Reznor was doing in the studio, I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be when I grow up. So right after high school, I went to this recording arts program where I learned recording, producing, all that stuff. And then once I got out of that program, I tried getting a job at a couple of recording studios, but like nothing really took, and I just decided to do it myself. So ever since like 1999, 2000, I pretty much just run a home recording studio. And that's, I've been producing some local bands. In the last 2 records I put out, I self-produced and recorded in my studio. And in between all that, I've been lucky enough to play with some pretty cool bands. And here I am today with you. I would say with the last 2 records I put out, I would say it's very classic rock-esque. Tom Petty meets Fleetwood Mac meets Ryan Adams, somewhere like in that ballpark. Especially for the last 2 records. Before these last 2 came out, some of the earlier solo bands that I had, I kind of messed around in like different genres. I was in a band for a while called Brett Talley Band, BTB, where we kind of did more of a harder rock sound, something kind of like Smashing Pumpkins. That was like about 2009. But over time, I kind of just evolved more into like singer-songwriter genres, and especially with like my new record, I was listening a lot to Fleetwood Mac, Tom Petty, a band called The National that I really love, and another band that I love too, the Airborne Toxic Event. So I take all these influences and inspiration, and I kind of feel like I morph them into my own thing. But yeah, I guess I would say Tom Petty, Ryan Adams, Fleetwood Mac, and
it's the same when I come around. Things never change in this town. Do you feel we're down with all this guilt? You wear it like a crown.
Yeah, so my studio is called Brett Sounds, and obviously I took it from the Beach Boys. It kind of worked out for me that my name rhymes with pet, so I figured we gotta capitalize on that since Beach Boys is where it all started for me. So yeah, Brett Sounds, and I'm in Northeast Philly in Parkwood.
You tell me you can change. Well, I know you can change. We're spinning records into repeat. It's not so strange. You say things are known.
Yeah, there was a time in like 2005, 2006 where the first like serious original band I was in, we were a band called Outset, and I was just the lead guitar player in that band, and we had tried to go as far as we could I remember we had a manager for a little bit. We were looked at by a few record labels, and I remember then thinking, what possibilities could there be? But of course, like always, and realistically, nothing panned out. And then after Outset, I joined the band Ike with John Fay. I don't know if you know John. And then I played in Ike for a couple years and did some pretty cool stuff with them and John. And then, with the help of social media and how easy it is now to get content like out into the world, I think that has really helped, because I recently did a cover version of Dancing on the Ceiling by Lionel Richie. And we recorded it in my home studio. I kind of like assembled a few members of Ike. We recorded it in my studio. I made a little music video for it, and then I uploaded it onto YouTube and Facebook. And like within a couple days, it was up to 1,300 views, and it just blew my mind that just this one little thing we made in my basement and made this like really low budget music video for. It was like on the internet in like 5 minutes, and a couple days later, like 1,300 views in just a couple days, and it just blows my mind about how easy it is to put stuff out there. But then I also think the con of that is because it is so easy that all of social media is just saturated with everybody who's doing something, and it's very easy to get lost in the mix. So, I think it's kind of like trying to find a needle in a haystack sometimes for people, like trying to discover new music. But that's why it's great. Things like Spotify, Apple Music, things like that can kind of like give you recommendations if you're listening to something. You can find other new artists like that. So, it's a different time than it used to be. But if you would have told me back in 2005 that I would have a video that was viewed 1,300 times in like 3 days, I don't know if I would have believed you, just because it was that idea then just seems so foreign to me.
You think you're dreaming, well, it's a mistake. I know you got me running in circles, won't let me stop. Time is counting down on the doomsday clock. You won't regret it if you just forget it. How can I accept it? Well, that's my secret.
Usually it varies. Sometimes I have music. I had a lot of music kind of left over from the last album I did, so I just took the music and I would just listen to it like on a loop and see what came to me. Sometimes I'll be walking around Center City and lyrics will come to me, a melody will come to me, and I use my voice memo feature on the iPhone, and I have almost every demo, everything I've ever written is in a voice recording on my iPhone, and it works out because my memory is so bad, and if I didn't do that, I would forget almost everything I come up with. But usually I'll just sing things into my phone, or if I'm home and I have a guitar, I always leave a guitar lying around because I never know when inspiration's going to hit. And I'll just make a quick demo. But, I don't really have a set formula. Sometimes it's music first, then lyrics. Sometimes it's lyrics and a melody, and then I find the music around it. And honestly, to be honest with you, I woke up around 2 a.m. last night because I'm not really feeling that well. And I woke up at 2 a.m. and I had this piano melody in my brain, and these like 2 sentences came to me, like lyric lines. And I just got up and went into the bathroom and sang them into my phone, and kind of talked to myself in the voice memo of what I think the chords are, because I was hearing it in my head. And then I came in and just tried to go back to sleep, but it was just interesting that I woke up, feeling like crap, and all of a sudden this like music just came to me. It was like some like music fairy just came and like, yo, here you go, here's a gift. And that was just last night. So, sometimes it happens just like that. Well, I'm lucky that I have a lot of musician friends in my life that are very honest with me. So sometimes if I'm doubting something, I'll run it by them. John Fay is one of those people. And then I'm also very lucky to have a great drummer who worked with me named Jason Moralia, who was the drummer in a band back in the day, in a band called Fat City Reprise. And then he actually was the drummer for Ike for a little bit. And he's played drums for me on the last 2 records. And he has a great mind when it comes to song arrangement, when he feels a song like maybe isn't working. And he really helps me develop songs in a different way sometimes, and it's been really good working with him. So that's why I actually gave him co-producing credit on the last 2 albums, even though he didn't want it and he didn't think he deserved it, just because he's helped me so much. And like I said, I just have a really good circle of friends because I'm my own worst critic. If it was up to me, I would never release anything, so I don't think anything I did was good. But especially with this record, I didn't really care so much about that because the new album is so personal to me because I went through a lot of pretty bad stuff. It was kind of written during quarantine, the whole album, and so a lot of it has to deal with that. And when it came to whether or not I thought the songs were good, it didn't really matter to me because I saw the album more as like therapy for my sanity. And I really, I wanted it to be good, and I definitely put my best into it. And, I think it's a better record than my first one. But I honestly didn't care, how I felt about it because I knew what I was saying in the songs was real, it was raw, and it was truthful. And to me, that's the most important thing, and if somebody heard it and could understand or empathize with what I was feeling and maybe kind of relate it to their own life, then I succeeded.
That's my secret. I broke my back in two, trying to defend you. But I lost the fight when you said that I did not have the right. And I'm so black and blue, my reflections never knew. No time to heal when you constantly continue to say things out loud.
So one song I know I'm going to do was the first single from the album Nonlinear. It's called Secret. And like I said, this album was kind of written and recorded in quarantine. So when it came to recording, it was kind of different because I really didn't have Jay available to come over for every session. So kind of we did this record backwards where I would record all the music and vocals to a drum machine or a click track, and then I would send the music to Jay, who lives in Jersey, and he has an electronic drum kit there, and he would kind of work on the songs himself and develop them there. And then he would kind of contact me and let me know, like, hey, I worked on X amount of songs, let's pick a day where I can come in and try to get as many done as I can. So our first drum session, he came in and he recorded about 6 songs, which if you knew me and Jay, that's a world record for us, because sometimes we're lucky if we're even able to get 1 song done in 1 session.
You think you're dreaming, well, it's a mistake. I know you got me running in circles, won't let me stop. Time is counting down on this Tuesday just forget it? How can I accept it? Well, that's my secret. That's my secret. That's my secret. Did you ever stop and think about me? With every swing you gave with no mercy. You say things aloud. You think you're dreaming, well, it's a mistake. I know you got me running circles, won't let me stop. Time is counting down on this doomsday clock. You won't regret it if you just forget it. How can I accept it? Well, that's my secret. That's my secret. That's my secret. That's my secret. Ooh,
That concludes this week's episode. Until next time, I'm Chuck.